Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. So before we get moving on, because E3 is happening next week and Eli is going to be at E3 getting us some impressions of Zelda and whatnot, we're going to skip next week because it's just going to be too busy with Eli and all this other stuff. So we'll just come back on the 21st and resume then, and then have all of our impressions and whatnot, or at least Mike and Eli's impressions. All right, so we'll go on to what we've been playing, and I finished Darksiders 2, and I'm having second thoughts about the game. I thought it was okay when I was playing through it, but once I continued to play, I think I was about 20 hours in, so I was still like a good chunk in, and I think I finished it about 30 hours in. Since then, I've gone to not really enjoy the game much. Over the whole experience, there have been a lot of tech problems. It crashed like 3 times on me, even though it was during times where there were like no enemies there. So it's not like a bunch of enemies overloaded the system. It just crashed in the middle of something. It has a lot of screen tearing, especially when there are a bunch of enemies on screen. So it still like runs at the same frame rate, but you can't really tell what's going on. You just kind of keep mashing and hope you're hitting things. So that was kind of annoying, especially because it was developed after all of the other versions. So you'd think they might have fixed some of those problems. But regardless, I just got really annoyed with moving goalposts. So for people who don't know, a moving goalpost is someone sets up a goal like, oh, I don't know, go buy 10 bananas or something, and you go buy 10 bananas, and then they say, oh, no, we don't want 10 bananas. That's not good enough. You have to buy 20 bananas, and then it obviously keeps escalating, and that's why it's called a moving goalpost, because you never technically finish. And a lot of games do this. It's not really a surprise, like, oh, get this thing. No, this isn't good enough. We need another thing. But usually they mask it a lot better. But in this game, the story is so obtuse and nonsensical. Like, it hits you in the face with all this lore that you're supposed to know, and you can't really understand the logic of this game. So I just kind of like shrug it off. And then anytime you talk to someone, they don't have any real character. It's just like, I'm an exposition thing. They might as well all be signs, for crying out loud, because all they do is say, go to this next point, get this thing, and then you go and get it, and they're like, no, that's not it. Go to this next point, get this thing. And that's literally all the characters do, and it just bugged me so much because there's nothing else to it, and Death doesn't really like... I didn't expect him to grow as a character, but I mean, there's no character development, there's no interesting character interactions. Is just so annoyingly bland, and I even like just speed read through the text anyway, but it still like bugged me. I don't know, the gameplay is decent, I guess, but everything around it just infuriated me so much and bored me so much I couldn't... Well, I finished it, so it's not like I couldn't be bothered to play it, but it did not leave a lasting impression on me. And I didn't even know until the game was over that the game was running alongside the first one, time-wise. So it's not like this is a sequel and you're picking up off where the previous story ended. You're actually starting and ending at the same time the previous one did. And I didn't really realize that because the story wasn't like insanely clear. I had a feeling it could have been, but it also felt like it could have taken place after. I don't know. And even games like Bayonetta, which do have an incredibly stupid story along with it that makes no sense and you can't really get involved, the characters and their interactions are a lot of fun to see on screen that I'm willing to move past that. But with Darksiders 2, at least, it's just... there's nothing redeeming about anything involving characters or story that I just got annoyed with. I'm like, this is... I would have recommended it as an okay game before, like for $10, but now I'm just like, no, just buy Bayonetta 2 or something else, some other third-person action game. Like, there's much better stuff out there you could get for that kind of money. So, I mean, it's not like the gameplay is terrible or anything. It's fine, but I don't think it was good enough to make up for the lack of everything else. And like, I would have brushed off the story anyway because I knew it was kind of weird and ridiculous. It's like, okay, it's a video game. They could just kind of have a story for whatever, but it was just so blatant and had no pizzazz or anything interesting. It's just like, go here, do this, go here, do this. I'm like, shut up. Like one of the characters, they don't purposely make fun of, I guess they do purposely make fun of it in the game. I don't know if it's supposed to be tongue-in-cheek or not, but basically Death visits the Crowfather, which is like this recurring character, and the Crowfather's like, oh, you have to go to the tree of life or death or whatever it is, and Death is like, I already did there, and he's like, well, go back again. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're literally saying that in this game. Like, this is stupid. Why do you bother people? I'm still kind of interested if they do a third one, but I'm not expecting much. Yeah, well, I forget who, but some company bought the license to it. So they're clearly interested. It's almost inevitable, I think.
So maybe they just picked up something like that, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Darksiders E3.
Well, apparently they said they put out a definitive edition for the game because they want to see people's interest in it. So, I mean, when a company buys a license, they usually plan on doing something with it. Like, it's one thing to own a license and do nothing with it, but it's another to be like, we're going to purposely put money into getting this property. Like, they're gonna do at least something with it. So, the game was called Agents of Mayhem.
There you go. All right,
yeah. Eli, what have you been playing?
So what have I been playing? I'm trying to think. What have I played in the last week? I've played a little bit of the Swapper.
What is that?
Which it's the Swapper's on the Wii U. It's on the PS4 as well. It's like a puzzle game. It's very fun, very, very clever puzzles. And it's interesting because like they give you an ability at the beginning of the game, and what you can do is you can create copies of yourself, and then you can swap like to the different bodies that you clone. It's kind of hard to explain, but the game is very good. The puzzles are very, very clever. In the game, it's interesting. Usually puzzle games, they give you like new weapons or whatever it is, to change up the gameplay, and somehow they come up with new ways, throughout the whole game to use the same simple mechanic to introduce all these ridiculous puzzles. So I really recommend the Swapper. It's really good. I've been playing a little bit of Minecraft Story Mode. I've only completed like an episode of it. That's also on, I don't know if it's out for the Wii U. I know it was announced for the Wii U. I don't know if it came out though. I don't remember. But man, playing that game, I mean, I don't think it's that great of a game, but it kind of reminded me of the days when I was super into Minecraft. There was a summer, I remember, between my junior and sophomore year of high school. So that was already like 4 years ago.
Oh my gosh. And
I put over 200 hours in that game in a month, and it was like 7 hours a day. I was completely in that game.
Oh my gosh.
And at the end of it was the month of July. It was during the summer.
You were in high school and you had 7-8 hours a day that you could sink into Minecraft?
No, well, it was during the summer. It was during the summer.
Okay. Like, did you skip a couple of hours and have your lunch break and skip half the day of school?
You know, I'd have to take breaks from Minecraft to like go to bed, which sucked.
Yeah. But you're like that nasty thing where you have to close your eyes.
Point being is that like I have I don't know if I'd call it a predisposition, but I get there's some games that I just get super addicted to.
Yeah.
And at the end of the month, it took up like an entire month for me. I just told myself like I cannot continue on spending 7 hours a day. And for me, playing an hour or two of Minecraft a day wasn't enough. Like I had to go, all into Minecraft if I was going to be playing Minecraft. So I'm kind of, so I stopped playing cold turkey, and like July 31st, I'm like, I've spent way too much time this month. I have to stop playing.
Yeah.
So I did, and I haven't touched Minecraft since. But now I'm playing, and I'm getting like the music coming back and the visuals, and I kind of want to go back to playing Minecraft again, and I gotta stop myself, Like, can't go back to
you're in the summer again now.
Yeah, but I got stuff I gotta do this summer.
Yeah.
The other game I'm playing is, I've only played like an hour of it, called Kick and Fennec, which is also on the Wii U, and the Xbox One and PS4 and Vita, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Really, on the Vita? Oh yeah, it is. Weird.
It was a Vita exclusive at first, and then was ported everywhere else. And it's, interesting. It's kind of like, a puzzle platformer. The quirk is this, like this little kid picks up a giant rifle at the beginning of the game. But he doesn't use it to shoot things. What instead he does is if he shoots it in one direction, he goes flying the other way, like the recoil. So the game is built around that mechanic, and you use it as like instead of jumping, you use this rifle to shoot yourself up to different platforms and stuff. And as a result, it's not so much as like a normal jump because you're kind of like launching yourself into a certain projectile, so it's more like a curve instead of like straight up, because you'll hit the apex of a curve and then you'll start coming down. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, so it's a fun little game. I'm only about an hour in. So far I'm enjoying it. I think that right now it's $15. I don't know if it's worth that, and from what I hear, the game's only about 4 hours long. But if it goes on sale, I'd recommend picking it up. It's a pretty fun game. You'll have my full review soon-ish. So that's what I've been playing.
It off topic, but it kind of it reminds me of this Newgrounds game called Cat Bow Golf, where you're a cat with a bow and arrow, and you have to shoot the bow, and it'll pull the cat along with it, and you have to hit like a target on the other side of the map, and there's different terrains, and you can lock yourself, shoot an arrow into the terrain and pull you into there, and that kind of stuff. It's similar, where you have to aim in a direction and propel yourself that way. So another neat game worth checking out, and it's free. So Mike, what have you been up to?
Well, let's see. I was like, hey, I'm gonna play Tales of Symphonia and give it another shot. It was so bad that I literally pressed triangle, went down about 5 lines, and hit delete, and hit yes, and we'll never run out again.
Did you even open it, or you're just like the thought of opening it?
Oh no, I played it. I was giving it a shot 14 months later, and I was like, wow, this is even worse than I remember. So I'm going to give... I think the Tales series is overrated. I mean, I'm going to give Tales of Grace's F and Tales of Xillia 2 a shot. But, yeah, I mean, if I enjoy one of them, I might pick up Tales of Zestiria. Otherwise, I'm done. I gotta just get my medals and stuff, so I'm just gonna run through that. Finally gonna play Xenoblade Chronicles X, so at least I'm getting stuff done. And then, yeah, Devil May Cry 8 on my list of things to play. But, I'm like near the end of Fire. Maybe it's not that good of a...
Sorry, what's not that good? You
know nothing about anything.
You cut out there, Mike.
Fire Emblem.
Sorry, you said what game's not that good?
It's alright. That game's not... It's alright.
Fates, Fire Emblem he's talking about.
Think about anything.
Except he's cutting
out. If you're, like, completely dumb, you might be a great series. Like, other than that, it could be a little bit deep, but it's so overrated and not... It's a good game, but like, if I gave you Final Fantasy Tactics, you're gonna say it's a good game as well. So, well, other than that, I've been kind of, like, I feel like I've been slacking. Like, I have more, like, going to play, so it's kind of like I'm building up to that. Like, I'm worried Xenoblade's gonna take forever, and I don't know if I'm gonna like the rest of these Tales games, you know?
Probably
yeah, I've been slacking.
Just skip Tales for Xenoblade. I haven't even bought either, but Xenoblade looks a lot more interesting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm probably gonna lead off, like, right now, literally probably just gonna Firefox and Xenoblade for the next 2 weeks. Also, I kind of fixed the motion control time. Did you ever hit start? It hit motion control is always on, and you just changed it to when locked on. So now it's not as terrible, but it's still terrible in all range mode. The game is so disappointing. Like, that's it. It's all good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so you were talking about Star Fox before.
Yeah. Like, okay. It's not that, like, more. It's so disappointing in that aspect, you know?
Yeah, that's too bad. Especially since people waited so long.
Play here. Gosh darn it.
All right, so let's get on to some announcements. Shantae, the Half Genie Hero, is getting a Wii U retail copy published by Xseed, and Runbow is
that
getting...
was another game.
What?
Sorry. I just played a Shantae game.
Oh, okay.
So that's
talk
relevant.
About it?
As I played Risky's Revenge, which is the DSi title that was imported to pretty much all the consoles. It's a fun game. I never played a Shantae game before. It's kind of like a Metroidvania style. It was pretty short. It only took like 3 hours to beat, but I'm looking forward to this next game. I'd like to play more Shantae games in the future. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I like the art style of the new one. So yeah, Half Genie Hero is getting a Wii U retail copy, so that's good for them. One of their 3DS games also got a retail copy, I remember seeing before in Japan. And Runbow is getting a 3DS retail copy. I don't think it was on 3DS before, but now it is. Unfortunately for the devs, it got ousted by an Amazon leak, of course, because it's Amazon. They always leak things. And I think they were going to reveal it at E3, and they're just kind of like, yeah, we have information at E3, guys. Crap! They leaked it on us. Let me try to add Mike in the call again. Okay, so there was some Pokemon stuff this week. I don't know how much we'll get into it since I don't know how many people listen to Pokemon stuff here, but they showed off a couple of things. They showed off the legendaries and their typings and the couple of friends and the professor and whatnot, so that's cool. A little bit of information, but nothing too extraneous. But the Pokemon Company announced that they're actually going to have a Pokemon stream at E3, which we did not know before. So that's pretty interesting. They're going to have something on the first...
Well, not specifically a Pokemon stream, but they're going to have a Treehouse Live that isn't just Zelda, because they also announced... they also announced Tokyo Mirage sessions and all this fun stuff.
Yeah. So for Pokemon, the first day on June 14th, they're going to have some Sun and Moon information and developer commentaries. On the 15th, they're going to talk about Pokemon Go and do a question and answer segment. And apparently on the 16th, they're going to have an E3 2016 Pokemon special, which I think is probably just going to be an overall news thing, so like maybe the TV show or the card game or merchandise, things like that aren't necessarily game specific but just Pokemon related. And who knows, they might have like Let's Plays with some YouTubers like they did with Pokken Tournament. I forget, they had some thing at the beginning of the year to celebrate Pokemon, and they had a bunch of developers or YouTubers like Jay Witz and other people play some Pokemon games and whatnot, so I'm thinking they may do that again just at E3. And yeah, so it's nice to hear we'll have a bit more than just Zelda, especially because Pokemon's pretty big, so it'd be kind of surprising if they didn't show something.
Well, I won't have more than just Zelda. I only get Zelda.
No, you're going to other booths, don't lie.
Well, I'm going to other booths, you're right, but I'm gonna miss all the Pokemon stuff. I'm gonna have to watch that later. But
True.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many Nintendo games. You got Sega bringing Nintendo stuff. You got Atlas bringing Nintendo stuff. You got Natsumi bringing Nintendo stuff. You got what's the other
Square Enix.
Square Enix, and then Capcom's bringing Nintendo stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's I think it's saying a lot when there are more third-party Nintendo games at E3 than first-party.
Yeah, that's weird. And it's not in a good sense either.
No, not at all.
It's not like Nintendo's finally getting third parties. It's like, Nintendo has so little that the few third parties they have are outshadowing them. They're gonna have other stuff from other developers. It just won't be like on Nintendo's show floor or part of a Nintendo Direct or show or anything like that. It'll just be kind of stuff we already knew about, I guess. It would kind of be neat if they showed more of the games they have announced for Nintendo consoles, but regardless. So that's what's happening for E3. So now on to some NX stuff, because we just can't stop the NX train. It's off the rails, and we're stuck with it for the next, 9 months or whatever, however long it is. But recently, Digitimes has claimed that the NX is being delayed not only to improve the hybrid functionality, but also to add VR support to it. So I don't even know what to think about this.
Okay, first of all, I don't want to say good to the VR support. That's not. I don't think that they should do VR.
Yeah,
I think it's good that that they didn't stick with their original plans. If they want to add VR support, that means they just amped the power of their system higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they heard about this PS4 Neo stuff. They heard about the Xbox Scorpio stuff, and then they're like, instead of doing the usual Nintendo thing of being like, it's fine, we're gonna be okay, we're gonna have the lowest price, yada yada yada, first party games, Mario, fun stuff. If this rumor is true, they actually looked at their console and they're like, alright, we gotta change something. And then Kimishima's like, yeah, we do. And then they did, and then now it's getting pushed back. And it's so good. If this rumor is true, I'm gonna be so happy.
You're right.
Not just because it's VR enabled, because I really couldn't care about VR, but because that means Nintendo as a company has fundamentally changed the way that it looks at its console development. It means that it's now looking to be competitive with others and have a competitive console that's powerful and not just doing its own thing, which as much as I love Nintendo for doing its own thing, if your console is 2 generations behind, then we got an issue.
Yeah.
So that's where I stand. I really don't care whether they do VR or not. I'm not yet sold on VR, but I think it's important that the power is there.
Well, I think this is...
No, I was gonna say, Matt, Eli's totally on point. That is literally, I couldn't agree with you more. It's good that they're ramping up their power, they're holding back. Just the fact that they are supporting VR gets the drones who are like, oh my god, well the Xbox and PlayStation can do VR, and I totally need that. And it's in reality, they're gonna drop it faster than they dropped, the PlayStation 1, because I'm not sold on VR. I mean, to be honest, it's just me. It's not virtual reality. It's me playing with a better. All right, VR is not VR, but I still have to use a controller. That's my personal philosophy on it. But it's good that Nintendo's holding back on themselves. And you know what? Maybe some people will actually be like, oh, I'm not going to buy it because it has VR. And people are stupid like that. As dumb as it seems to us, why would you hold yourself back from that? People would actually not buy something because it doesn't have 1 or 2 particular things. That's why Xbox is completely done now. Once they had that whole DRM thing and they lost their Call of Duty, they're the sales are it's insane. You look at it's just one mistake because people want one little thing that they probably know nothing about at all. So
yeah, I wonder if this might persuade some PS4 owners to pick up an NX instead. Oh man, PS4 Neo, now I gotta buy this whole new console just to have VR working. Maybe I'll get, this might be a stretch, but maybe I'll just get Nintendo's thing so I can have this Sony console and another console with VR rather than just an upgraded version of the same thing with maybe not as many.
Now I get you, because I mean VR, no, you're right, because it seems that VR can all support each other. I'm not too sure about Oculus versus Vive right now, but it seems like you can play. I know you can't play Oculus games on Vive only because it's a different browser, but you technically could. People have hacked the Oculus.
I'm going to be completely honest. So first, 2 things. This source, the iDigitimes of Japan, they don't have 100% track record. They're a 50-50. So take this with a grain of salt. We should have said that at the very beginning. They're not 100% spot on or anything like that.
No. They're claiming it, so it's up in the air. It's an NX rumor. Anything can happen.
They have some sort of source probably somewhere.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think, what I hope when it comes to VR, if Nintendo decides to pursue this route, I don't want them developing their own VR hardware. In terms of, I don't want them creating a headset. I think that that's going to cost them too much R&D costs. I don't think that they need to take that investment upon themselves. I don't think, because if VR takes off, then great, it's good for them. But if it doesn't, then Nintendo loses out big time.
Yeah.
I think if Nintendo creates a partnership with one of the big VR companies, obviously they can't do PSVR because Sony won't do it.
For HTC, I think they have the best one.
Yeah. So HTC has already been said to be the best one. So if they were to partner up with HTC, for example, and be like, all right, let's make yours compatible with our console. Then if VR takes off, great, Nintendo benefits. It's compatible, it works, blah, blah, blah. But if it doesn't take off, Nintendo doesn't lose anything on that VR. I think that's the route to go. I think Nintendo developing its own headset is a terrible idea.
Yeah. I don't know about partnering with...
Before I lose my brain, what I was going to say was it makes sense, too, because Xbox already has Oculus. Like, they're set with each other. Oculus launched with an Xbox. It comes with an Xbox One controller when you buy it. And then Sony's making their own thing, and everyone's like, oh, Sony's going to get with somebody. Now, Nintendo's also getting into the freaking mobile kind of thing. Even though, this is completely irrelevant, HTC is mainly like, they're like cell phone providers and all that. So I think it would be benefit in a good kind of way if they would go after this company rather than waste money looking for this and, making another I can't think of it, Virtual Boy, you know what I mean? So, like, it would benefit in both ways. Like, yeah, you know what? If VR doesn't pan out like it does, like you lost, but you know what? HTC's the Vive is freaking. It's getting rep now. You know what I mean? Like people know about it. And they and the people who especially like VR or looking forward to it or tech savvy know that this is better. So it might intrigue them and get more people as well.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if they really could support it because I'm pretty sure like I'm just gonna call it the Vive for simplicity's sake. But as far as I know, the Vive requires like this incredibly beefy PC, like it has to be like basically worth $1,000 or more, and Nintendo said they want to make a profit right off with the NX, so they can't really make a profit if they need like that strong of a computer or a console to be able to run the thing and make money. So I don't know about that, but as far as making their own VR headset, I was wondering about that too, because the other VR units, Oculus and the Vive and Sony's PlayStation VR, those have been in development like just in the public side for like a couple of years, at least like 2 years, let alone what they've done behind the scenes. So if Nintendo is delaying this now to make a VR unit, like that's not enough time unless they somehow thought like a year or two ago that they would start making it, but then they wouldn't really be delaying the console now to make it, right? Like, I'm wondering what the timeline of them adding a VR headset is, and if they just added it recently, like, I can't really believe that it's going to be quality, because it would seem like they'd be rushing it out. Unless the VR headset doesn't, come on launch day. Well, I guess it would have to, because if they're delaying the console, I don't really know.
No. I think that it's different for something to be like primarily focused on VR and something to be VR compatible, Yeah. Like it could be like have the innards ready for VR, but not from day one. It could be like, well, we'll have a patch in 2 months and then it'll be ready. Yeah. They were probably, if this is true and they delayed manufacturing, I think this source is the one I think that originally said that they would start manufacturing in July of this year.
Yeah.
Remember that rumor that was running around last year. I mean that or at least 7 month delay. And so that's more than enough time for them to put something together that I think could support VR.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. They could, like you said, have the innards, prepare the innards for VR, but VR comes like a year or however long later.
Yeah, and I think people are. I wrote an article on our sister site, PlayStation Enthusiast, and I really don't think VR is close to taking off. I think the cost is way too high. No. And think about it this way: let's say that Nintendo partners up with Vive, and the NX is $400 at launch. Are people really going to want to go and spend $500 on a VR headset right after buying a $400 NX?
Yeah.
I mean, that's unrealistic. They've got some time. And I think the same thing can be said for PlayStation. I don't think the PSVR is going to do well. I think it'll have a great launch. It'll sell out. People will be really optimistic. And then the games will stop coming in the beginning of 2017. And then people will stop buying it and it'll go the way of the Vita. And then 2 years later, we'll get a PSVR 2 that's better, that has a bigger frame of view, not pixelated, this, that, and the other. I don't think that right now is the time to go. I don't think people have the money for it. I mean, it's a big proposition. It's $400 or $500 for a VR headset.
Yeah.
And in addition to a console, it's not realistic to ask people for this sort of money.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because you buy a console and then it's like, hey, you want to play this game? You have to buy another console. Like in price wise, it's like, screw off. I just dumped a bunch of money and you just want to play the game. And it's like, you have to buy a whole nother console worth of money. It's like, yeah, that's going to be a hard pill for people to swallow. And I think it's mostly going to be a niche thing. If it ever grows, it's going to be niche for at least like 2 years. Because the only people who are going to spend that much money are hardcore gamers. Like, the mass audience isn't going to be like, hey, I'm playing Call of Duty, I got to buy that VR headset. They're going to be like, no, I'm not going to bother with that. So I'm optimistic because I think it looks cool and I still want to try some of it. But yeah, I'm not expecting it to take off anytime soon. I think the future, I guess, is a little more optimistic because they do have some, like, noteworthy developers making some cool things. Like, I think Insomniac is making a VR game where you're some person in like some frozen tundra. I forget. It's more than I've seen a handful of developers making games that are more than just low quality indie games, put it that way. Yeah. But still on the topic of VR, apparently there's a game called Riverside that's been announced, I think it was just today or maybe a few days ago, that's coming to the Oculus Rift, but it's also coming to the NX. So some people are thinking now that maybe that rumor that Nintendo's getting VR could be lend true because this game is also supported by a VR headset. Now, I don't think it's an outright confirmation, obviously, because they could just port the game over and take out the VR aspect to it. I looked at the game. It's Minecraft-ish clone, so it's not like VR is necessary to the game, but it's still weird to see someone's VR game coming to a console that just had a rumor that it's getting a VR headset. Do you guys... What do you think the likelihood of the NX having a VR headset is?
I mean, I think it's the same as we talked before. The chance, I think, is very, very low. That it's bundled into launch, I think it's very, very low. Like,
yeah,
0% low. I don't see that happening in any sort of scenario.
But I mean, like, them having it at all.
Maybe 10%. I don't think they're going for VR. But they might partner with someone. As I said, it's so much money to develop your own VR technology when there's no point in doing so. So I hope that Kimishima has more business sense than that. And I don't want to play with these percentages. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think they're doing VR at all. But yeah.
Yeah. It would be weird too because Nintendo doesn't usually jump on a trend. Especially they usually don't jump on a trend, and especially so quickly. So to see them adopt VR while the other VR systems haven't even really come out,
you're right,
would be weird.
What?
Sorry, Mike, you were going to say something?
Yeah, but Nintendo, the worst part is they need to follow now because they're behind. It sucks, but I mean, they start the trend, they do their own thing, but
yeah.
Freaking, like I said, man, everyone's a simpleton. Like, they'll just do, like, we'll do whatever the masses do. Like, the numbers don't, like, I don't want to say deviate from it, but it's true. Like, if, like, it's sad. Like, this, right now, being rewarded is being the same.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy until Nintendo finally announces something. Hopefully it's not too long after E3, because I don't want another long drought before where we get no information on anything. Actually, they're supposed to have whatchamacallit, not an annual report, stupid meeting at the end of June. Financial
Yeah,
report
it's just
or
their
something.
financials. It's the one that they have every 3 months.
Yeah.
Nothing big. I mean, that's not true. I
The other one,
wouldn't be
the other
surprised.
thing
if
was their financial report, correct? Where they announced Zelda being delayed and the NX release date. Was that in March?
that was the annual. That one was big because it's
Okay.
every year. That was like the end of their fiscal year.
Yeah.
The one in June is like, I don't know. We could see news. I think last June was when they said they had the NX in development at the one in June. Because that was after they announced mobile stuff. So I could see some sort of maybe small details. It depends on what their timeline is for the NX announcement, because they're running out of time. We've got 9 months to launch. Nothing at E3. What are they waiting for? I think maybe a few more details at the end of June at that briefing, and then a Nintendo Direct mid-July explaining what the thing is. I don't know.
Yeah. They better release something. So moving on from VR headsets, Nintendo of Europe teased some Mario Kart 8 news DLC, sort of. On Twitter, they showed a picture of Calamari Desert from Mario Kart 64 and saying, "Good things come to those who wait." # Mario Kart 8. So,
Hey, I called it. You guys laughed at me. I said they were going to make crappy Mario Kart 8 DLC, and you guys like, that game's too old. Told you all, because that game is trash. I mean, they still need to make money.
So I'm torn because it sounds like they could be teasing something, especially because it doesn't make any sense why they would talk about Mario Kart 8 like, 2 years after it's come out? Like, it's not relevant to talk about it, so why would you talk about it? And Mario Kart 64 is, I think, already on the eShop. So it's not like you're announcing that being out. Well, actually, I don't know if it's on the European eShop. Let's assume it is, so I don't sound stupid. But I don't know. It doesn't really seem relevant for them to bring it up at this point. But at the same time, it also sounds weird if they did have DLC, because both Mario Kart 8 DLC packs came within 5 to 6 months of each other. And even if they announced a Mario Kart 8 DLC like right now, it would have been like over a year long wait. And it would be longer by the time it would actually come out. So it would be like a year and a half after their previous DLC to have more. It would be very, very strange. But maybe they would just want to make something to fill in the gap because they delayed the NX. I don't know. It just comes off weird. Do you think there's anything to read into this?
I don't know. I don't play enough. I didn't play enough for that game to really tell you. I bought all the DLC and everything, but
all right. And I guess one last thing we can discuss a bit is I don't know, your E3 wishes, Nintendo or not. What are you excited to see at E3?
Nintendo. Well, I want to.
Well, we know that's not really much.
I want to see Zelda.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Zelda and play my 2 demos of Zelda.
Yeah, you bum.
I don't know. What are you excited to see, Matt?
So I haven't really. So when it comes to like looking at news for consoles, I don't bother looking up news for consoles I don't own because I feel there's no point to it. So I haven't been keeping up on PS4 news, but I'm pretty sure Dishonored 2 is going to be there. And I love the first one, so I'm excited to see that. I think they showed it off last year as well, at least a CG trailer. So I'm pumped for that, and I'm pumped for Zelda, and those are about the only 2 things I know that are going to be E3, so anything else is basically icing on the cake. And Pokemon.
Hey, ukuleles at E3, so that's
all
it's important.
They already showed off the trailer, so I doubt there's going to be too
and they're
much more
booked
at
up the
E3.
butt. They told us they had all their meetings already scheduled out and everything. I was like, wow.
Oh, they're going to have a gameplay demo there?
Yeah, on the show. Well, not on, maybe not on the show floor. Maybe they'll have their own private meeting room just for the press. I don't know. We'll see.
Awesome. That game looks so good. I can't wait for it.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see. Okay, I'm excited to see what announcements Sony will make for games that'll come out in 10 years, because Sony loves to do that.
Yeah, I was sorry to interrupt you. Last year was, I think, the E3 of no 2015 games, right? Like, weren't most of the games like, these games aren't coming out this year?
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. If you guys remember, what was it last year, Sony E3? Everyone flipped their shit because they had the Final Fantasy VII remake, which who knows when that game will see the light of day.
Not for like another 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah. They had, the other game they had was, Shenmue 3, and who knows when that game's coming out.
That's not coming out for another couple of years for sure.
We got, an update for The Last
Guardian.
The Last Guardian.
I think that's probably close.
So that's already 3 games that are just ridiculous. And then some of this other stuff like Horizon, which is going to launch 2 years after it first premiered.
Oh yeah, they just delayed it like today.
Yeah, or like their press conference was so incredible. Everyone came away from it and was like, "Oh my god, Sony just freaking bombed everyone!" Like, "Oh my god, Sony, PlayStation." And I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty excited too. You know, I saw that Final Fantasy VII remake, and I'm like, "That's a sexy game right there. That's a sexy game." But then we don't hear about it for like a year, and then we hear that it's freaking episodic, and I'm like, "Oh, damn it." Why did I get excited? So this year I'll be watching Sony's press conference, very excited, but very skeptical of the announcement they make.
Yeah.
I'm going to be at Microsoft press conference, so I'm hoping. So, do you guys remember maybe like 5 years ago when they announced the Xbox 360 Slim?
Sure.
Yeah, kind of.
They gave one to everyone, right?
How they went and said everyone in the audience gets one?
Yeah. Oh, you just want to get free swag.
So this is what I'm hoping.
You're totally gonna hawk it online too.
I'm hoping that they announced the Xbox One Scorpio and say everyone in the room is getting.
Not likely.
Not making any money. Sorry.
Well, isn't there a rumor that they are making a slim version?
You'll get 2 days of Xbox Gold.
Hey, I'll take. I think they gave out. I think the year after that they gave out like Xbox Live Gold for a year or something like that.
Yeah.
So
you'll get that.
I'll take that. That'll save me some money anyway. I'll take it. So we'll see. We'll see about that. Other companies. I mean, I'm excited for Watch Dogs 2 and South Park, the fractured butthole. I'm excited for Mass Effect.
Are we actually going to get anything about Mass Effect? Are we going to get a real trailer or just another, like, here's a screen? Well, I guess they can't do that again.
Okay, game, it's been like 3 years since that game was announced. We got a semi-trailer. We got like half a trailer last year.
We got a developer, commentary. They're like, we're working on it for sure. Here's a blurry picture.
Well, so, I mean, it's slated for launch Q1 next year.
Well, so are a lot of games. Oh, yeah.
Q1 is the new Christmas.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure there's going to be there might be even a demo, you know, like actually there won't be because their EA Play is not at E3, it's separate, and the 4 games they were showing this year were Titanfall, Battlefield, FIFA and Madden. Those were the 4 games I could make appointments with. Mass Effect didn't have the option, but I'm sure we'll see more of that, which I'm really excited for. I love Mass Effect. I don't know. I'm excited for a lot of games. We'll see.
I forgot Mass Effect was. I didn't even know Mass Effect was going to be there or not. Totally got off the radar.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a big E3. You know, for the people at home. I mean, for the people at the show, it's different because Activision is not on the show floor. They're scheduling appointments for freaking Sunday. E3 starts on Tuesday, and they're scheduling us for Sunday. You know, Activision's on Sunday. I'm seeing EA on Monday. They're not on the show floor either. You know, Nintendo's just bringing Zelda. So for those on the show floor, a lot's going to be different. There are less companies. Now you've got freaking porn VR on the show floor.
Really?
Which, yeah, you didn't see this?
No.
YouPorn is going to have a VR booth there.
Oh, gosh.
To which two of our writers were very ready to book an appointment. For purely professional reasons, of course.
Oh, yeah, of course. In a booth with the curtains closed.
And like what people don't realize, and so if you're at home though, there's a ton of games, and if you're watching the IGN stream or whatever, nothing is going to change on your end. They're going to, they're still going to have all the same stuff as last year and everything. It's just for us on the floor. The one thing I do want to point out, which is interesting, is EA had a very good space on the show floor. They were right at the front of one of not the main third party hall. They were right at the front. They had the biggest, you walked right in and you saw the giant EA stuff. And, the thing about E3 is that if you don't reserve your booth space, you lose it. Mm-hmm. So EA decided to skip out on this year. And a lot of people thought, well, maybe they skipped out on this year, but they'll be back next year. Maybe they don't have games to show. They're just experimenting, but they didn't reserve the space, which means that if they come back to E3, who knows if they'll actually do that. They're going to be in the back somewhere, like at the very back of a hall in a terrible space. They can't reserve the same space as last year and all this sort of stuff. So we'll see. I think that, EA may very well pull out even farther from E3 in the future. We'll see.
Companies are pulling out. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read your article about Nintendo and their E3 show floor space and why they didn't necessarily reserve less space. And it was interesting. Go read it on Nintendo Enthusiast. And to add to that, I think, another reason why they wouldn't just reserve less space is they have to reserve it like basically after E3 is over. So they probably don't even know what they're going to show at the next E3 anyway. They just reserve it. And then once they get in within like 6 months of it, prepare for E3 and then realize what they have or not have.
Well, and what I'm actually thinking, I bet you Nintendo holds its own event, in preparation for the NX and its announcement. You remember when Sony had its event?
Yeah, but the other competitors use logic.
No, I don't know.
I don't mean to be mean, but I would want them to. I just don't know if they would.
That's a valid thing usually. I think Nintendo, though, although, common sense would dictate that you have a giant press conference at E3 when, New York Times is there and Time Magazine and, Wall Street Journal and shit. But no, they don't care about that. But, I think that they have a morsel enough of logic. I think they might, invite the press to say Washington, to their headquarters in Nintendo of America and have some sort of announcement there. That would not surprise me. I mean, plus you got all these other shows. I mean, you got Gamescom still in August. Who knows? Maybe the NX will be there. If it's announced by then, maybe it'll be there.
Does Nintendo usually show up at any other shows? Tokyo Game Show, do they?
Tokyo Game Show, They've skipped Tokyo Game Show, but they're Gamescom. They had a giant booth space last year. That's where I played Xenoblade Chronicles X for the first time. So, I mean, they could bring, and that's August. That's late August. Okay. They could bring, early August. If they announce in July, they could have the NX at Gamescom in August. If they announce in August, they could have it at TGS in September. If they announce in September, they could have it Paris Games Week in October. There are conventions every month. If they announce in November, they could take it to PSX.
Totally.
In December.
They're like, screw you, Sony. We're taking over your show.
Obviously joking on that one. But, they've got places to show it. It's just unfortunate that I'm going to be at E3 and not at any of these other shows. So.
I could see them doing something at least time-wise in August or September with E3 is obviously settled down and the news is settled down. And then people whoa, Nintendo has a new console. All the focus gets drawn upon them because of they're not being stuck in the middle of everyone else's giant announcements. But it would definitely be interesting to see them show up at another event and put on a show. And who knows, because obviously Iwata's not in charge of Nintendo anymore, and we haven't had Kimishima on too long, so who knows what kind of business plans and prospects and how he really runs the company different from Iwata, and see what he does, because maybe some of the stuff is doing, like delaying the console for VR so that it's on power wise and it's at the same level as the competitors in terms of what they offer and things like that, so that they're actually competing and stuff. So I don't know. This is going to be a new generation for Nintendo, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, for now, giving them the benefit of the doubt. You know, we think they're all idiots, but I really hope they're not.
We all hope. Who knows? They could pull something out of their butt, and we least expect it. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising. They've done that before, especially with game announcements. Hey, this thing you never heard of is coming next month. What the crap? And no one even released this? Like, it's irritating, but it's exciting. It's like, I don't want to wait forever, but I just want some actual concrete news. But I think that about wraps it up for this week. A little shorter than usual because there's not too much to report on this week. But the next time we appear in 2 weeks from now, there's going to be a bunch of E3 stuff. We might even talk about some of the other games we saw that we were really interested in, since Nintendo only has a couple of games shown, or new stuff shown at least. But yeah, stay tuned for that. I'm the Mango Viking, and you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Mike is at Gaming Night Live on his YouTube channel, and you can find him at Twitch and Twitter at TroyfulBuster. And Eli, where can people find you?
You can find me at NintendoEnthusiast.com. Next week I will be functioning off 3 hours of sleep for all of you to write up all sorts of fun stuff about Zelda and Sonic Boom and
I forgot about that.
Fire and Ice for the 3DS, which I'm sure... Why am I even doing this?
The Olympic Games.
Yeah, the Olympic Games, of course. How could I have forgotten that one? And then, oh my god. And then you can find me on Twitter at Paul Salon, or riding a freaking bicycle with a VR headset, you know.
Yeah.
Or watching VR porn. I mean, it's all for you guys, everyone.
You better have videos of both of those. You might have to have the age gate on the porn one. But, yeah, that'll be fun to see. You should do some videos. I think it'd be cool. But obviously you do what you have to. So yeah, that's it for this week. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Podomatic, and IGN. And remember to leave gaming to Nintendo. To Nintendo. To Nintendo. To Nintendo. To Nintendo. To Nintendo.